Good morning and welcome to Our Issues Milwaukee. I'm your host, Andrea Williams. Our focus this morning is on issues that affect the lesbian, gay, bisexual, and transgender community, referred to as LGBT. Please note that some of the language heard on today's show may not be suitable for children. The month of June was chosen for LGBT Pride Month to commemorate the Stonewall riots, which occurred at the end of June 1969 in New York City. As a result, many Pride events are held during this month to recognize the impact LGBT people have had in the world. My first guests are Karen Gotzler. She's the Executive Director of the Milwaukee LGBT Community Center, and Charles Smart, who's the Manager of Youth Programs at the LGBT Community Center. Welcome to the show.
Thanks so much for having us.
Appreciate you both being here. And let's start off finding out more about the Milwaukee LGBT Community Center and what you offer to individuals on a daily basis.
The LGBT Center is really a community center in the best sense of the word, because it's a gathering place for about 50 to 60 different LGBT small groups in our community. We have an art gallery, we have a library, we have meeting rooms, we have places where people can drop in and have a cup of coffee. We have support groups, we have programs and services. So it really is a community center.
Okay, in every sense of the word.
Yes.
And anyone who keeps up with the news, they know that there are a number of issues that are consistently and constantly in the headlines, going from same-sex marriage in different states to, of course, the Caitlyn Jenner story. In my opinion, I think that for many people, this is opening up dialogue that they may have shunned or not wanted to talk about for many years, but now it's right there in the mainstream. So in your opinion, what are some of the main issues when it comes to the LGBT community? And I'll let you start off telling us that.
Well, you know, I think acceptance is one of the big issues. You talked about Caitlyn, and it took many years for her to get to be comfortable to talk, and some people are still grappling with that, particularly some of the young folks that come to Project Q, which is our youth program. We're helping people youth come out to their families. We're screening calls from parents who realize that their 8-year-old now identifies as trans and needs some service to really help the family really understand what that means.
Okay, and we'll come back to some of those youth programs that you deal with on a daily basis. And in your opinion, what are some of the other issues?
Certainly the same-sex marriage issue is a very big one for many lesbian and gay couples. This is a big month because the Supreme Court ultimately will decide in the next couple of weeks whether or not same-sex marriages in one state will be recognized across state lines and will be recognized nationally. So it's really it's a huge federal issue, and that's really what's getting a lot of attention. The reality is, though, that the biggest challenges facing the LGBT community that stem from the acceptance issue that Charles just talked about really are issues around equal access and equal protection that result as a consequence of discrimination. And so the level of poverty actually in the LGBT community is significantly higher than it is in the general population. And that's an interesting dichotomy because there's a misconception that LGBT people have a lot of discretionary income. And of course that is true for a segment of the population. Those tend to be people who are well educated, have supportive families. Typically they're white, don't have children. But what we know is that the LGBT community in general has less discretionary income and is really in need of services, and so that's part of what started the LGBT Community Center. But part of it is really just community building, having a place where people can gather and be in a safe and affirming space. So for us, it's also about counseling services. It's also about having opportunities for activities in an environment where there is no alcohol, where there aren't illegal drugs, and that people can gather to just have fun with each other, meet new people. and maybe take a class or watch a movie.
Okay, it sounds good. And where exactly is it located in Milwaukee?
Well, right now the LGBT Community Center is on the corner of Highland and Market Street, so it's just a block east of Water, and so we're very centrally located, which is really a good place to be downtown. So we're pretty easily accessible. We might be a little hard to find because we're not right on Water Street. But we're bursting at the seams. So we're right now in the process of trying to figure out how we can actually move to a larger facility to be able to accommodate all the activities and all the other organizations that share the center.
That's always a positive sign. It means that you're growing and that people are utilizing the services and programs that you offer. You mentioned the center being a safe place for individuals to be. It's been cited that LGBT people can face violence motivated by hateful attitudes towards their sexuality or gender identity. The LGBT Community Center has a number of programs that are specifically targeted to anti-violence. So let's talk about a couple of those. You have healthy relationships. You also deal with advocacy for victims and survivors, crisis counseling and stabilization, community education, and outreach. So an umbrella of things that really are important when it comes to individuals having that peace of mind, knowing that they are going to be okay.
Andrea, you have done a great job of doing your homework on this. Yes, those are all true. We do have staff and graduate student interns that do provide counseling, not only group support, but also one-on-one work. And the rate of hate crimes is actually pretty high for LGBT people, and so it's really important to have a place where they can come and talk with someone about their experiences, but also get the support to be able to file motions in court, to get a restraining order if they need it, to file charges, and to help them interact with the court system and with the police department. And so we've had actually a really good relationship with Milwaukee Police Department and with the court systems.
That's good. And basically, we're running out of time. That's crazy. I've got the Project Q youth program, which is for kids specifically age 13 to young adults who are 24. Fill us in on some of the things that you do. You mentioned giving them an outlet to come out, because you have individuals who are younger than others who are struggling with who they are, and being able to be actually comfortable in their own shoes. So talk about that and some of the things that the kids deal with.
Well, I'm a former Project Q graduate, so I'm a graduate of the program. And so the program also helps with leadership development, which I'm proof of that sitting here. And we also offer some socializing skills, healthy development, relationship counseling, processes with coming out, so we actually help people with that. And we do some structured, formal interventions in curriculum, and then some informal socializing, really being able to go out in the community. What does it mean to be gay, to have dual identities, to be Black and LGBT as well? So we're tackling an array of issues in this program, and as Karen said, we're bursting at the seams. The program has been well attended by youth, which is really good because it speaks to the need that we still have to do as a community, the larger community, to increase acceptance of LGBT folks.
Absolutely. And the thing is that I've had a number of guests on to talk about different organizations. They talk about the bullying, and it always comes up that LGBT young people, they have a tendency to have a higher rate of suicide because of bullying. And then you also have a scenario where young people who are fighting to figure out their identity and live with that and not have others judge them, they're put out of their homes, and then they're homeless, and then they're doing things in order to survive, which leaves them in some pretty scary situations on many occasions. So it's something that parents and family members need to keep in mind, that when an individual is dealing with the sense of who they are, but they really need that family and friend support in order to deal with all these other things?
Yes, well, we're very happy to talk to family members.
Yeah.
And we've had parents groups in the past, so we'll be getting ready to start another one in the fall.
Okay.
Which gives parents an opportunity to really learn more so that they can be supportive of their children and of their family members. And really, it's a place where we hope people can find acceptance, and we'll have the opportunity to develop a support network to help them get through life.
Okay, and what I'd like to do is bring out the point that here we are coming up on a political year in 2016, talking about
Very much.
Presidential candidates coming out of the woodwork, right? So,
Yes.
Potential candidates. And it really does take certain politicians to stand up for the LGBT community when it comes to passing laws and making sure everyone's treated fairly. So one of your big supporters would be Congresswoman Gwen Moore, correct?
Gwen Moore has been a very strong supporter on LGBT issues and has been very instrumental in legislation to include particularly transgender individuals in the Violence Against Women Act legislation, and has always been a leader on the issue among her peers, and she's really been a great partner with the center in many ways.
Okay, and with that being said, let's take a look at this video where Gwen Moore is talking specifically about that fight.
Great.
As we honor LGBT History Month and the great strides we've made in ending discrimination in our country, let us also recognize that our fight isn't over until all Americans are afforded the equality and justice they so richly deserve. I am so proud to join my Democratic colleagues in these efforts to move America forward and create a place where everyone is empowered with the respect and dignity needed to grow and succeed. Life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness aren't just words. They are the very values that helped guide the founders of this great country. From the streets of Milwaukee to the halls of Congress, I will continue to combat intolerance and build a stronger, more inclusive society for all of my constituents. As a member of the Equality Caucus, I'd like to send a special message to those who still live their lives in the shadows. You are loved, and love was always meant to be shared. Its beauty, its joy, its warmth, love was meant to be shared with everyone, without shame, without persecution, and without compromise. And it is my honor to stand by you on the front lines in the fight for love and equality for all Americans. Stay strong and stay true to yourselves. Thank you.
There she is. I love her because she's just so authentic in what she believes in, and she's willing to do what she needs to do to help those who are in need.
Absolutely.
So quickly, I want you to mention, we talked about the youth program, but you also have programs at the LGBT Community Center that's focused on individuals 50 plus.
Yes.
Okay.
We like to say 50 and better. Because
50 and fabulous.
I would be in that category, yes, thank you. The program is also affiliated nationally with an organization called SAGE, which is Services and Advocacy for GLBT Elders. We provide drop-in times, we have support groups, we have trips, we do events for older adults, and we also work very closely with Milwaukee County to be sure that those low-income Milwaukee County residents who are 60 and older are connected to public services, and so we have a really good relationship with the Milwaukee County Department on Aging.
All right, well, I thank you both.
Thank you
so much for coming by and
great.
giving information on all the great things that you're doing at the Milwaukee LGBT Community Center. Keep up the good work, and I'll see you around town.
Thank you.
Karen Gotzler is the Executive Director of the Milwaukee LGBT Community Center, and Charles Smart is the Manager of Youth Programs at the LGBT Community Center. You can log on to MKE lgbt.org for more information, or call 414-271-2656. When we return to Our Issues Milwaukee, we'll continue our conversation about the LGBT community. We'll find out more about an organization that supports and serves the needs of the transgender community in southeastern Wisconsin. We'll do that right after this.